Good.
Hello,
Hello.
thank you.
Oh, good evening. It's Road Advisory Committee meeting, May 1st. May 1st already. Is that great? Great. It's scary. Okay. Let's begin with the agenda. Call to order. 6:30, right? 6:31.
Townsend, here. Scio, here.
They have to say here.
They have to say.
Sure.
Here. Looking right.
Here, present.
Ian.
Yes, sir.
Present. Yes. Present.
Bob. And Chris is our guest, right?
Yes.
Present.
All present.
Project manager.
Definitely him present.
Oh, speaking of roll call while we're here. So Roy, are you the minutes secretary? Or,
Yeah, I think I got voted that in December, but then I had this last 4 meetings, I think Bob's taken over that role. We started, he was my backup.
Well, that's
Sorry.
all right, you're back.
thank
You did a
you.
great job on the role, so. I am taking.
Do the next four, that's.
Okay, so do you wanna both take minutes or just decide so we know which? It's up to you. I don't care.
Meeting started at 6:31. Bob did the roll call, is that fine, or you want me to do the roll call?
No, Bob's already done the roll call, but, so who's doing minutes?
Oh,
I will.
I said I'll share. You wanna do the next four, I'll do the last four, whatever.
Okay, fine.
Okay. Sure, whatever works, as long as we get the minutes taken.
Gives me a little break, that's all.
Has everybody gone through the agenda? So everybody in agreement for adoption of the agenda as is? I'll say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And we're here to public comments. So are you running Zoom?
Yeah, I have it here and there.
Okay, Chris, could you come and join us?
Yep.
on this side?
I can see everything.
You like to see everything? We're punishing you by being in the
Oh, I
corner
don't-
over there.
Mind.
We're at public comments, nobody in the room, but looking for raised hands.
Silent night?
Yep, which always makes me worry that people can't hear us or,
Oh,
But we did have some.
okay,
Someone
We
was
can hear
on.
you just fine.
oh, great. Thank you, Rob.
thank you, appreciate it. There
Okay,
are no public comments.
well, we have one later, so just in case. Communications and correspondences, we only had the one from Cottontail Court. And this was regarding the drains, the culverts and drains, and I thought, oh, wait a minute, we know about big culverts, so I did call WCRC and I talked with Matt Parks too, just to, verify. So if you have a culvert at the end of your drive, that is the resident's responsibility. Is that your understanding, Roy?
Yes.
Okay. I know, that's kind of a bummer, like. Hopefully the township can take care of it and.
The only question sometimes, if they installed it, it's theirs. It always comes in, if there was never one installed and becomes a drainage problem, then whose responsibility is it? That's where it gets a little bit gray. It's something, let's say someone's lived there 30 years, now it's a drainage problem. Sometimes it's hard to have them put their culvert in now, then it becomes, sometimes it becomes a burden on the road commission and the township. Let's say it's a local road, you're gonna do a local road project.
Yeah, when it came, so that's what WCRC did say, that if there was a road project and if they damaged it or there's something that needed to be put installed. Yeah, so that, but they said generally,
Right.
because once the home is, as the home is being built, then they have to give a permit for the driveway and then they inspect and say, yes, you need a culvert or not. But I think we're safe to say, I'm sorry.
The address. Now, I have an Ann Arbor address too in Scio, but I got a feeling this is Ann Arbor matters.
No,
Is it?
Cottontail is right off of
Cottontail?
Wagner.
Oh, Wagner.
Yeah.
It's not Ann Arbor?
Yeah, what's up Wagner, north of Milan.
No.
There is not a Cottontail court in the city.
No, that's ours, yeah.
Okay.
It's in the,
It's east of Wagner.
West of Wagner.
well, there's, it's where Park Ridge and Robin Hood or Robin Hood. Robin Hood lives over there.
East of Wagner.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking. I know, we looked at a house there when we came here.
And it gets kind of funny in certain areas because of the annexation at one time, you know. But, okay, so,
Jillian, too,
Yeah,
one, that was really
sure.
great follow up with her. Really was good. And two, I want to let you know that I put it on the database.
thank you. I assumed you did,
Yeah.
but it's good to verify.
You're right, I was thinking lamplighter, right, just thinking of.
That's west.
Yeah.
And she did say she lived in Ann Arbor, so she must be a newer resident. But it's
why I
always
wondered why
good to
she's
verify.
contacting you or Scio. You're not Ann Arbor. That's my point.
Yeah, so she thought she lived in something Ann Arbor, then she called WCRC, they said, no, call the township or talk with the township or connect with it, so. Yeah, and it's a little different if you're used to living in a city and then you move out of the city and you're in a township, because then, you know, a lot of people don't understand there's a difference. Which is depending on where they came from, yeah. Okay, I think that was the only communication. Go ahead. You know what were you gonna say?
I was gonna mention the Linden Township thing, but,
Linden Township.
Fix our darn roads.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that could come up under
Oh.
new business as well, so that's why I paused. I'll bring it up in new business. It's not really in correspondence, is it?
No,
Chris is telling that it's in the township.
That's the township. It's north of M14 up that way. I'm pretty sure that's township. North of Miller.
you know, I downloaded that into my computer to upload it into Granicus and I forgot, but you can, well, it's discussion time, so why don't you bring it up now?
We've all seen it. Yeah, fix it down roads or something, wasn't it? It's Linden Township is so it's just north of Chelsea, is that right? Linden Township, yeah. And I'm trying to remember when the event is. It's coming up maybe this weekend.
Saturday, 10 to 2,
There you go.
the Township Hall.
Roy is heading
Fix
the whole
the
thing.
dang gravel roads.
Right, yeah, they're trying to get input. I know the township supervisor, she used to be a state rep.
They've got a new township hall, don't they? That white building.
Yeah, the new township hall, and then we have the trailhead road, I mean, Parks has a trailhead right next to it, so obviously I'm involved with that stuff out there, so.
You're right,
yeah.
10 until 2, May 4th. Rain date is May 18th, Linden Township Hall, which is 17751 North Territorial Road. If anybody's interested and want a copy of this, please let me know. The topics are learn how our roads are funded, maintained and improved. Talk with road commission staff, sign up for library cards, arrange for fire department approved address markers, touch a road grader and fire truck, bike decorating and parade. But yeah, looks like the equivalent board at Linden Township are doing an event in that community, so, and it got passed to us from Supervisor Hathaway, so just mentioning it, that's it.
So are the Linden Township looking to have a millage for their roads?
Yeah, they're
or-
looking for, they're just trying to get a better understanding and educate the people about, I mean, local roads like everywhere, it's like, okay, how do we fund them? They have a lot of state land up there, which adds a little bit of complexity because they're local roads, but no one lives on because the state owns land on both
Right.
sides. So like, who fixes those roads? So I
Yes.
mean, like, because the state doesn't give money, I mean, the DNR, obviously the state, MDOT, you know, they get money, road commission, but usually if there's residents, it's like, oh, they're paying taxes. When it's state land, obviously there's no tax revenue. So that's sort of, trying to figure out. So they are looking at, are people interested in, figuring out a way to improve their local roads? They have mostly all gravel roads up there. I'm not sure they have all paved
North
local road.
Territorial, that's probably the only one.
Yeah, I mean, those are the primary roads, but all the local roads are pretty much gravel.
Yeah.
So that's what they're just looking at and trying to figure it out. So they're forming a roads committee. Sort of like we are, and there's a couple of things, outreach.
Does someone have time to go so we can see? All the
I will be there because they
Oh,
also
okay.
invited parks. So I'll be there.
Could you,
So I can report
report back?
Yeah,
please?
It would be a great way to interface with the community.
Yeah.
Mhm. There's also the Popkins Cemetery cleanup on the same day. There's lots of, that's the thing. You can only be at one place at one time, but,
But I'm planning to be there. But I
okay.
can let you know what how
Yeah.
the turnout was, what the.
Jillian, I know you can be in both places.
Only when I'm sleeping. All right, so the next thing, and we have been working, Caroline, Patrick, myself, and Chris have been working on this sad nuts and bolts for public roads. And not the flow chart, we put that aside for now because we've been going through, I don't know how many times we've gone through this.
We had to do some serious rearranging of paragraphs and things like that, so kind of rendered the flow chart kind of inverted the moment, just because things changed orders.
Oh, Chris, could you go into Jess's office and get the dry erase board?
Oh, yeah.
Please, I was gonna do that and think because we use the dry erase and then we do this and all of this to, put it together because changing. Did everybody get a chance to read through the nuts and bolts?
Speed reading.
Okay, so is there anything other than, there's some notes in here that we still have to follow through on because legal we have to ask legal.
There's a couple of things Chris has to follow up with the road commission. We've, I think, done a better job of leaving directions and facts and trails for us about what else needs to be done.
So could everybody, a little homework, take this document and give it to your spouse or your neighbor and have them read through it because they would be the people or, pretend they're the people that would come to us for a SAD. And does this make sense to them? And they're gonna ask questions if it doesn't, or maybe there's something we forgot. So then we can polish that up. So, yeah, I can.
So I think Carolyn's a great example. She was new to this and came back with all kinds of great questions and thoughts about how to move things around, and it turned out to be very helpful. So I think that kind of feedback from somebody in your lives would be very helpful to all of us.
Yeah, she's seasoned now. She knows
Right, she doesn't count
188 by the back, like the
Yeah,
back.
I memorized it,
I really like the bolding in here. I think it stands out, as a segmenting, reading it.
I mean, this is all great. I think the other thing that, because I mean, when you hand it to someone and they're not familiar, there's so much new. I mean, we're trying to, it's a state law statute and it's sort of like really black and white. So I think that one of the things.
Really dense too.
Right, is making sure someone from the township is also familiar with it that works at the township. So they can explain it, because I mean, when I've done SADs at the road commission, I've worked with SADs at the township. You need to have that person, because you give it to them and they're gonna look at it, read through it, and it's like, wow, this is a lot. And we've tried to make it as simple as possible, which I really appreciate, but they're still gonna have questions, and then, they've gone through it, and then it's like, okay, what, can you explain that again, Chris or Bob or Jill? I'm just using your name, but you know what I'm saying? Because that's what makes us successful. When I was the road commission, we had a person that's like, hey, Mark, you're in charge of these, so you become familiar with it, or so I think having this is like one tool, but the other tool in the toolbox will be having someone that's okay, they're assigned to when people knock on the door, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Here's information, but also you're gonna probably should talk to
Yeah, it would be Chris. He's our project manager. So that's, you know, what his job with roads is going to be the special assessments. Yeah, so he has a lot to learn because, you know, there's a lot to special assessment.
Right, and
but
here
He's
again,
catching up.
right, but a lot, and some of the stuff, it's like, okay, that person would know, it's like, okay, if it's a legal question, okay, you need this. Or if it's a question about something, okay, we probably need to get clarification from the road commission or someone.
Right.
So that person's like, they don't have to know all the information, but I know I can probably get the information, so that's where, yeah.
Well, this is, yeah, this is, if somebody comes in and says, oh, I want to pave my road, public or private? So then they say public, because this is all we have right now. And then we just hand them this and it will have the policies in there too, but you know, this is, or the flow chart and then this, I don't think they need to know the policies. We're still, you know, that'll be on the website though.
Yeah.
But everybody at the township will need to know the policies that is involved. For sure.
You
Yeah,
also
so it just-
figure that we're gonna have legal take a look at it as well.
Yes, and so we have the public road version because that is a little, the process is, well, it's similar, but we would be, I just thought of, Matt Parks from OHM was here last time with a presentation and he gave us some handouts. So if you who was, wait a minute, oh yeah, you weren't here. Like a month ago, Linda, you were.
I was here. It's sort of OHM's overview of
Yeah.
all the different things OHM does.
So do you, I'm gonna give you one.
I worked down here 35 years.
Well, so with the public or the private road, that's what reminded me of this, you know, we would have to, have our own engineers and, you know, there's a different process. There's more to it that we would do. But, so that would be the second nuts and bolts. And then we'll start with the policies and we'll have to have two different policies. So regarding this, the, Bob and Ian, you were working on the flow chart or was? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so could you go through this again?
Uh-huh.
And with the public road, so this will be the public road flow chart and put it into order because things did change.
Yeah.
And you can do that, making a note for the next time. For next month.
Yep.
It shouldn't take too long.
And we had a suggestion, I think if I remember right, that phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 should be delineated with some kind of line.
I just was suggesting that in the flow chart bubble, that there could be a reference back, when it just, because it's other than one sentence, have a reference back to some piece or part of the nuts and bolts. Either the phase or phase 2B or whatever, however that is, because it just kind of helps. They look at that and say, well, what is that? Takes you right back to the document.
You don't have to, we have to go here and say which one is
They
it.
just say, is that really the one I'm supposed to be looking
What you do is a dotted line. As a break line.
For phase 1, phase
Phase
2,
one.
yeah. I think that's what you had, I think your husband has suggested that.
at? You did? You made a lot, you scribbled all over it, you made a lot of sense.
That's good.
Oh, that's right, that.
Flow chart came out twice, my packet, okay,
Yeah,
did it?
it came up as an attachment. It was in the document. and it Came
Oh,
up as an attachment.
okay, sorry about that,
No biggie.
Granicus. Anything else? Oh, so for the private road, do we still want to keep the same subcommittee for that?
I'm hip.
I'd be fine with that, yeah. How about you, Chris?
Sure,
Okay.
I can accommodate.
Kind of have some momentum going, so.
Right. And I can't wait to see how.
You dream about it, Pat.
Yeah, he was like, I'm so sick of this thing.
That's also true.
Well, but now you're excited about the private road part of it.
Can't wait to see how they're different.
So let's see, are we finished with this? Could we move on, or do you have other insights? Questions?
So does anybody have any ideas about what flow chart changes are needed? Or is there a concise summary? Otherwise,
Read the nuts.
I thought you were in.
No, you need to read it's actually a really good document.
Read it,
I'll read it, yeah.
okay.
You have the better software.
Yeah.
program.
Yeah,
I'll read it and I'll mark it up. How about that?
sounds great,
I'll send it to you.
that'd be great, thank you.
It'll plug in real easy. It's, yeah, let's see, Washtenaw County Road Commission updated agreement, okay. So. This has been a while. Joyce, Will, myself, Adam, Labe, we sat down, remember, we went through the list, gave it to them. And it was different than what the placeholder list was at the end of December, which we all knew it was gonna change. So we gave it to Adam, and he was writing down notes. And then he said he was going to crunch the numbers, you know, with his crew. And then he said it was ready, but he didn't send it to us. And I said, oh, could you make sure that you send me the list so I can make sure that it's the right one? Because I knew he was over there writing a lot of notes, and it was not just about, there was other things he was talking about. So took him a couple months. He finally got it back, and he removed Tubbs Road and included Park Ridge. I don't know why he did that, because Park Ridge wasn't even a discussion. There was the Laurentide Park Ridge paving part of it. But then I was thinking, oh, maybe his logic was that, well, we're doing lamplighter on the other side, we'll just go ahead and do that. I don't know, we're still
The gravel part of Park Ridge or the paved part of Park
the
Ridge?
gravel. But, so he removed Tubbs, but we included Stein because Tubbs was being worked on. So Stein is all the way up here all by itself, but Tubbs, so I went back and I looked. The last time Tubbs was done was 2017. And you know, the topography of that road is crazy.
It is.
And it just erodes so fast. And I'm like, we need to have Tubbs back on there. I don't think it could go another year.
I haven't drove Tubbs this year, so I really can't. tell you.
Oh, okay.
I know I drove, I was involved, and
But
the people didn't want it done. We actually, township, we got it, we ended up doing it in 17. Supposedly, I think some of those people no longer live there,
It's true.
because they didn't really want us to do anything in 17.
It's
Or
crazy.
really, like 15 and 16, because it took 2 years to finally convince them to do something. So I'm not sure.
Crazy road.
Yeah, but the hill and, you know, it just
Washout.
erodes, yeah. They need to have something. But they're not, you know, I know, and it's a natural beauty road, so
I
they're,
mean, maybe ask Adam, did it have something to do with it? Was there neighborhood people that, you know, it's like, you touched this road 7 years ago, we don't want you to come, I don't know.
okay, well, if that's the case, but he needs to report back because there was nothing in with the agreement. So that's where we are, and we're in a hurry here because they have a deadline for us to get our road list in by May, and it has to go in front of the board on May 14th, so this week. But I did put it in here just so everybody can see what the numbers that they crunched, where we are with this. So my hope is that we have saved enough money where they'll be able to do Tubbs and Park Ridge.
I mean, one logical thought would be, if you're doing that section of Laurentide, the gravel that's not really gravel anymore. The worst part, probably one of the worst roads in the township, that paved gravel. Also repave that little piece of Park Ridge, that first.
Well, that's,
500
That's what's
feet.
in.
yeah, that,
Oh, there's
that
both. Oh,
part's
they-
in
okay,
here.
at first it was just Laurentide's both in there, that's good.
Yeah,
I
that
mean, the
whole-
gravel part of Park Ridge, that's, I don't really care, that's.
Existing paved segments, Park Ridge and Laurentide.
Okay. Then just when you're out there doing that type of project, you got a pulverizer out there, it makes sense to do them both, and a paver out there doing them both. The gravel segments you can come and do later, because those are road commission crews.
Do we have a budget problem with this? Did the price increase significantly? I'm sorry, I can't remember what.
No, this is the right, the 547,000 was the ARPA funds. Roy, 297,000 for that part of Park Ridge Drive in Laurentide that for repaving? That seems really high.
Base crushing, shaping.
I mean, it's not the other side, because the other pavement. Oh, they did include the other pavement, and we don't need that. And that we specifically talked about that, that's why it's so high.
Right, yeah, the Wagner end, I would agree. I mean, it's fine, I mean, it's 30 years old, but it's pretty decent shape for 30-year-old pavement. The other stuff is, yeah, 40 years old and is in terrible shape.
Well,
I
that's where
agree,
we,
taking that Wagner section off makes sense.
okay, that's gonna save us some money, that could be applied to Tubbs and then Park Ridge gravel, okay. Okay, I'll be on this tomorrow.
May I just inject, because Chris wasn't here during any of the Park Ridge discussion a year or 2 years ago. The neighborhood was really adamant about the trees that are overhanging the road on Park Ridge, and this uses the sentence "work to include drainage improvements." And the whole argument was they needed to clean the culverts and re-ditch, but that meant that the trees had to take a major haircut. And the neighborhood was just adamant that, you know, they couldn't pull together an SAD support because of this. So if the county road commission is going in, people who live on Laurentide and Park Ridge aren't necessarily going to understand that this is the county's project and it was not township initiated.
No, wait a minute, you're not exactly right. What they were up in arms about was the asphalt part of it, they would have to widen the road and remove the trees. When we walked there and said, all we're gonna do is re-gravel it, there's only like 3 or 4 trees there we're gonna go when we did our walk, and people were happy with that.
So it'd be more like spot ditching, and Bob's correct. The footprint's gonna be about the same. With the paving, the footprint was gonna get wider. So this is about the same, and there'll be spot ditching, clean out culverts, take down a few trees.
The point I really want to make is that, how are we going to interface with citizens so they understand what's happening? Because the county really doesn't. They just show up.
And this may not even happen for them for this gravel uplift, because again, it wasn't supposed to be on the list. So it really has to do with money. So if they come back and say, oh yeah, you have enough money, well now, especially since one of the ends of Park Ridge doesn't need to be repaved, then there's Amy
So
and who's it? Lisa.
Yeah, Lisa,
Lisa.
yeah.
And then there's Tom Bloom that lives over there too. So we can contact them and then they can just,
I'm trying to figure out if we should put something on the website or how, you know, we don't need to go out and hang door tags, but
Well, can we have whoever is representing these folks meet with Lisa and Amy and walk the street again and just calm them all down?
just kind of, yeah.
This is kind of what they wanted to get done in the SAD.
Right, they just couldn't
Well,
get
the
70%
paving.
of the people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. Well, the second round, right? The second, yeah.
Second time, I mean, there's support for this, but they
But,
just
you know,
didn't
I
get
think-
70%.
I think they would, the neighbors, they're not paying for it. So I think they'll be okay. And I am still working on, I have to create 2 resolutions, one to have the SAD engineering costs returned to Park Ridge. And then also the lamplighter. So, okay, when we get there, we've got to hear back from Adam. And we'll have to contact Adam again and maybe go through Matt because Adam is super busy.
and the board has to vote on it. But once a
Right.
decision is made, I think it would be prudent for the road advisory committee to either create a few paragraphs on our webpage that says summer 2024 projects, or
So
somehow,
speaking of websites, would you like to be in charge of our webpage?
I know absolutely nothing.
No, what you
about
would-
web pages.
what you
I
would-
can certainly interface with someone, but
It would be Mary, yeah, so you just tell her what we need and she'll plug it in, she does all the back end stuff. But we need somebody to take care of that, so anything that comes up. You know, whenever there's a big road project, I call Mary and have her put a banner at the top.
Mhm.
But other than that, you can just look at our web page and if there's things that need to be changed around or added. I think that would be simple. I just can't,
I've seen this happen so many times where if they feel blindsided, they'll be defensive. And what we'd
Yeah.
like to say is, hey, this is in. Here it comes, get ready.
right, and I've
I've
been
your lawn party for that weekend.
thinking of that with my neighborhood as they're going through cutting the brush.
Let's do this. If you get it approved, I'll get a hold of Amy and Lisa. And let them know what's happening and ask them if they think they need to contact whoever is the project manager and walk the mile and a half again.
Well, or just ask them to interface with the neighbors.
As long as the neighbors are, trust them, they're okay with what's gonna happen.
Yeah, once the board approves this, then they're not gonna have really a choice.
Well, I think they'll be happy with it.
Yeah,
It's just a matter of.
I mean, I guess they still could have a choice. Let's say the township board says, okay, we're gonna fund whatever that number is. And then we contact Lisa and Amy, they contact the neighbors, and still, all of a sudden now there's like, we don't want this road, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, you can tell the town road commission, I mean, if the board decision's like, okay, at this point, we got a lot of negative feedback, you can pull the project. I mean, they're not gonna start work the next day, I mean, they put it in their schedule. But I can't imagine, I mean, they've been trying to get this road improved for
But I
10,
just,
12 years, and if someone's gonna pay for it, I can't, but. I
there's a
guess-
substantial number of people impacted on this entire list. And, you know, Jillian lives in the Llewellyn neighborhood, so you could
yeah,
say,
and
hey,
it's a
this-
smaller,
this is happening, but if we had some way to contact a representative or get it in front of them so they know it's coming, I think it will be.
Lisa and Amy.
Yeah, for this one, we have someone that's,
Yeah,
the tricky
that
part
we-
is, there's no, every community had an HOA that was active in the township had contact with that, but that doesn't exist.
Do we have a Delhi Court contact? It seems like we.
Do you know anybody in Delhi Court?
I talked
Oh,
with
I-
a lot of people on Delhi
do?
Court. I won't say I know anybody on Delhi Court.
Ian does.
You know somebody?
Okay, well, if we can kind of get the whisper into the pipeline ahead of time, I think
Yeah,
it will be more successful
We walk our
project.
dog all the time, so.
in Stein Road, I mean, that's such a,
That one's not a hard.
yeah, and then Lamplighter, I know, well, we know people because we've heard from them.
Well, you wanna wait till it's approved though.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm making the point, we haven't done this in the past, but for this particular set of roads, there's a lot of residential.
The Delhi Court, that's where East Delhi and then all the way to what I call the keyhole at the end.
Yep.
Which is part of, actually now part of the B2B trail.
Which makes me wonder about whether there's gonna be heavy equipment driving down that road and whether that factors into when they do it.
That's actually a really good point, because I don't know what the plan is for the B2B.
Yeah, is there a parkhead at the
You know
end?
somebody that
Yes.
knows.
Yeah, there is.
Is there?
There's a
Sorry, I'm
park
pointing at you. At the end of Delhi Court, is
Yeah,
there,
it's kind of like Delhi
there's a
boat launch or
park
something
back
like
there?
that.
Well, it's a park, yeah, it's East Delhi Convention Park.
No, it's Delhi Court.
It's
Right, but there's Delhi and then there's West Delhi.
It's West Delhi.
West Delhi.
Oh,
So that's just a metro park, but then there's a cul-de-sac at the end. So yeah, right now the border trail is being extended, from there, all the way out to Zeeb Road.
Right,
Um,
right.
they're supposed to be working on the bridge later this month. I guess I would just ask the road commission to coordinate, because there will be paving, there will be, concrete trucks, paving trucks, heavy equipment going in
That's what
there.
I'm wondering.
So I would say, yeah, delay that until the border project's done, which could be like July. So it's not like we're asking to delay till November.
Yeah.
But they could hold off on doing Delhi Court. So then all the construction stuff moves out of there. Then they put the gravel lift on, compact it, and Delhi Court should be good for quite a long time.
okay, so, delay that until,
The B2B is done.
Post B2B.
And-
The bridge is.
oh, what are they doing with the bridge?
We're putting a new bridge
Putting a
for
new
bridge
bridge
trail.
In.
That
Trail-
got delayed
trail
because
bridge.
of the railroad.
Oh, not, okay, I was thinking of the big bridge.
No, there's a little bridge over the creek. the end there.
Been sitting there all winter waiting to get put in.
Yeah.
Well, they were waiting for the railroad to give them permission.
Okay,
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mm.
We just walked there last week to see the progress.
yeah.
But we got it paved from like Alpine, that's Z, so that's good.
Yeah, the whole thing on Z Road is paved now.
There's a lot of work yet to do though.
This happened Friday.
Can't drive, so.
Weird. I'm,
On the south side of Huron River Drive, from Lock Alpine to Z Road is now paved. The first course,
Yay.
there's two courses. In theory, you're not supposed to be using it. It still is a construction project, but I guarantee you, people are
it's,
using
oh,
it.
yeah, nice, yes.
Some people are on it.
I know, I get it.
Okay, so just to recap, Delhi Core delay until B and B is finished in July or ish.
Whatever,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then the other was, we don't need Park Ridge Drive West
Right.
paved. And then we still need Tubbs, with a question mark. Because again, we don't know why those were, and then Park Ridge. How, do you know how long or what the length of Tubbs, is it about the same length as Park Ridge?
Wow.
Feels pretty long when you're riding.
Feels pretty long.
Oh,
It's like a mile to me.
You know, it's very different going down it.
Chris, pull up the certification, yeah.
Okay. Well, I was just trying to do the math,
Why are some of the uplifts 4 inches and some are 6? Is that just based on
Condition.
condition? And I know Stein Road is like 2,600 tons. $68,000. And then like Park Ridge is like 1,600 tons. So 1,000 tons less, $93,000. I guess it's more because of all the
Drainage.
drainage and all that.
Cause Stein, you can just go put stone on it.
Yeah, it's pretty
This
basic.
is a subdivision road, it's sort of, you know, it's like, it's fine, just pay
Yeah.
it. Park Ridge has been a long time since something's done.
So-
Bob and I can
So this
attest
is the
walking
budget
it.
list for 2025 or 4.
no, right now, this summer.
Got it.
And this was paid for by the last of the ARPA funds.
It's actually really good, isn't it? I mean, if, if we pull this off, it's.
Tying up a lot of pieces.
Yeah.
It would really make us look vital.
Mhm.
Well, it's
Because we
lovely
are.
to have, it's lovely to actually have reason to exist. I can't find. Well, you could, it's just conversation, it only goes so far,
Just a few.
especially, well, there you are. Yes, your life actually revolves around. All right, so Tubbs Road, it says HRV to Stein is 1.18 miles,
1.8,
1.18 miles.
sorry,
God, it feels like longer than that. You're driving it, yeah.
And then Park Ridge. Which end is the end we're talking about?
it would, well,
Not West End, but they give me a
Wagner.
description. The Wagner end.
You
Okay,
just-
Park Ridge, Wagner to Laurentide,
yeah,
1.24.
Similar.
That's,
Pretty close.
all right, I think we'll be able to, that's the whole thing.
Yes,
Swap
Wagner
them
to
out.
Laurentide.
Yeah,
so part of that's paved.
so Roy, they have 297,000 for Park Ridge, well, all of that. So if we remove the Wagner the west, so how much do you think would be removed from the two or minus the 297?
Well, I guess, let's just break it into 3 segments, right? You got the Laurentide segment, you got the paved Park Ridge segment at the Laurentide end, then you got the other piece at the Wagner end. Divided by 300,000.
Yeah.
I would guess the Wagner end's a little longer than the other ends, but I'm just shooting from the hip.
But if you also work on the assumption it's just over a mile and you look at like anything else that's near a mile, that gives us a rough estimate. You just said, we don't have a figure for Tubbs. We have an equation we can't solve because we have too many unknowns. All we need is a road that's a similar length. And we can do a rough ballpark figure, can't we? For what the gravel portion is.
I mean, you could go into county GIS, click on that thing and follow it around. just find out where the pavement stops, that gives you can draw a line on it, say the length of a road, or length of what anything. But we can figure it out, but not,
So if
not
we,
right now.
if we could safely just say it's 100,000.
Yeah, let's say 100,000.
I think one of them.
Yeah, that's why I just did it simple. Let's just divide it into three pieces
Okay.
and
Then we'd probably be
eliminate
okay.
the one piece, it should be at least 100,000.
Should be okay with Tubbs Road then, basically.
Yeah.
That's what you're trying
Tell
to.
them I
Yeah.
just need a 4 inch.
It looks like a fair trade.
Okay, all right, then, that I think, actually, I was crossing my fingers, we could do both Park Ridge and Tubbs. I think that would go a long way.
Mhm.
Okay, I have my meeting with Joyce tomorrow and hopefully, she's been trying to contact a couple times. But maybe she'll have to go to Matt, McDonald.
McDonald.
I know, sorry, Matt. Okay, anything else on G2? Can move on to G3? Which? Okay, our task list or our action list, whatever we want to call it. So the things that our committee needs to be working on, because right now, since we're, with the road funding, we really can't figure out how much that's gonna be in ballot, and also that's, looks like it's gonna be 2026. We still have to deal with the fire, too much of an ask, it just turns voters off. Plus, there's gonna be 4 ballot initiatives for August alone, so we don't even know what's gonna pop up for November. I think that's when the fire is going to be. Then we would next year ask for the roads. And I can't think of anything else that needs renewal, at least at the township level. Parks and pathways,
We're good.
okay, LPC was just renewed. That's one of them. Yeah, so I think hopefully, as long as the economy doesn't do something really crazy. So anyways, back to this list. So working on the special assessment primer, or no, it's not primer anymore, the primer, or either one. It is nuts and bolts. So we have the public, which just needs some polishing up, work on the private, and then that's also going to. The time okay, I need to include flow chart there. Then we get to the special assessment policy, but then also the road funding project priorities list, and this is gonna be a big one, because this is everything that needs to be done here we have to have ready in order for us to go, for a millage ask. So I need volunteers for that.
What does that involve?
Well, there's Chris, you're gonna be included. You already know this, he's like, one more thing on my list. So we're stealing him from Parks and Pathways, sorry, we're gonna have him, no, we're trying to share Chris, but we don't wanna keep adding things to him. But, the GIS, so we've already talked about the software, but from what Matt had said was that the software is just maps. It's not like a list of roads in a segment, or is it? You're.
Right, I mean, there's a map, you can create a list from it, I mean, there's lists, there's lists. You just gotta, connect them all together.
Okay, so in that list, could we, once from the map, make a list, but then every road that we have history, that's either when it was created or the last time it had work, or even the history of all the work on a certain road, could we plug that in to?
I mean, you can, that's like a full-time job, that's creating a GIS database, basically, what you're asking, which some communities have. But I think that's gonna be a lot of ask for, a committee like this,
Well, no, we would have, but is it possible to do that?
Yeah, that's what the county, township wide, a city, that's what, they have. and all that data, and you can look in there, it's like, okay, yeah, this road was last worked on, blah, 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 da, da, da.
So it's already
Eventually,
there.
you put your utilities in there, put all these different layers, but that's, you, like I said, you need some township GIS person, or at least a part-time GIS person. But you could just start out, because basically, you know, the 10-year spreadsheet that I sort of put
Yeah,
together.
that's the idea.
Exactly, that's, I mean, that's sort of the basic, that's step one. What roads, when was the last time it was worked on? And then you can sort of say, okay, this road probably should be worked on again. So you make that, you can do the same thing for the local subdivision roads, is really what you're asking. And you can try to figure out when, because I started doing this, looking at it. When was a road first accepted into the system? Because that tells you when it was a paved road. And the road commission didn't really have that information. I was hoping they did. But we could find out as much information as we could, like Patrick's up. We can figure out when, you know, I'm not sure we know when it was first paved, because we don't know, the road commission doesn't know exactly when it was first paved, or when it was accepted. Right.
Find that out.
Right, and then we can find out when it was repaved blank, and then you put that in. So you could get that for most of the roads, and then you can project that out. His sub's probably gonna need something in 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, whatever. That's what, you know, that's what I started looking at doing, the basic one, not all the layers, but just the basic information, try to.
Does Chris have that spreadsheet? February spreadsheet.
Right, I don't know.
What's in, yeah, we have
We have it
it.
in pretty much every.
I have it, I can
packet.
send it.
Yeah, exactly.
We have it lots of times over.
Yeah.
We've lost it.
It's out there.
We have no-
It's an Excel spreadsheet with colored columns. That is.
What needs to be
township roads.
updated is what was done last year and what's being done this year,
Yeah,
just to project it, look back and project it forward. And make sure there's, because sometimes things get added and it wasn't completely.
we need a place to store it where there's some document history that's baked into the system.
Right.
So something like SharePoint, which I know the township are talking about.
We have SharePoint.
So SharePoint, when you save a document, if it's set up in the right library, every time you save it, it gets a new version number. You can go backwards.
Yeah, and Chris, IT Chris had set up. This is in, here, we have a RAC SharePoint.
All right,
Is that what you're talking about?
yeah, if you can
Something
get me set up on something like that, I can kind of
Okay.
help build the infrastructure. And this is where we should then keep all the documents that we work with. That would make
Yeah.
absolute perfect sense.
Right.
Well,
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. I'm agreeing 100%.
But we'd have to probably do like a little bit of a lesson
Mm-hmm.
on what does it mean, how do we use it?
Chris, have you ever used
Does somebody actually?
SharePoint.
SharePoint?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So should we do this list by segments of the township? So, or, because it would be,
We talked about that before.
yeah,
like
and so
having-
just trying to how to organize.
Like 4 quadrants.
Yeah.
So that we can try and split.
I mean, first you gotta get the data, right?
Yeah.
And then we could say, okay, here's the data, here's all the roads, right, in the township, all the local subdivision roads. And then when you start prioritizing projects and funding, so you need to figure out, you know, we wanna fund, you know, $10 a year, $100,000, you know, whatever. Then you figure out, okay, how much can you do? And that's what Patrick and Bob and I worked
Well,
on. That was sort of
but
like
it's- yeah.
one scenario thing. If you wanted to do, because that's how we were sort of working that sort of backwards, like, okay, we put in this much money, you could, you know, take care of the gravel roads every 5 years, paved road this many years, and they've created, you know, sustainability. So it's like, okay, this is how much really, and we can go back and look at that document. I guess on the document, I guess we can do all this. Do we want to go, before we go, I guess, all the way down and create this, wow, this is a perfect plan. Do we want to at least take some of this to the township and get them, like, is this where, are we on the right track?
That's up to us, and so, but they wanna have a plan that we present to them before we ask,
Finalized plan?
yeah, before we ask the voters, and.
No, I get
Yeah.
that, but I mean, before, that's a year from now.
Right, so that's why we need to be working on this now. So Matt, one of the questions was, so Matt from OHM, Matt Parks, he's working with our utilities on their GIS. So it is something possible for us to have our own, but then and he said, whatever, I can't, I think it's like $30,000. I may be off on it because they're doing a bunch of different projects. But I mean, that could be a possibility. But for now, what we really, yeah, we just need a list of roads.
Mhm.
And we already have the 10-year, but then, you know, to plug in everything else.
Should
So-
traffic counts be a part of that information?
Well, maybe, yeah, eventually, but I think first of all, we need a list of roads. Yeah.
Well, we can get those.
Yeah, and I had,
Subdivision roads generally has no traffic count.
No, of course not. I
Yeah,
just
so-
meant, you know, where we can.
unless there's a detour, and then they go through the, as you know, that happened.
We did traffic counts before we did a road. For 2 weeks, there was a counter and
They're required of the developers when the roads are officially listed, but you're gonna go back to the original date that the road was installed to get.
Or if someone requests traffic calming in your subdivision. then
well, there were people that were requesting traffic.
That's it, because they usually
And it was
do
done-
traffic calming, you need.
It was done in conjunction with.
Because they
So
talk about.
They did the
speed
roads
bumps.
and they were saying, oh, the people are gonna be speeding through.
Right.
So coming back to this, the road funding and project priorities list, how are we going to do, I mean, should we all take a section or a segment of the township? There's 28 sections, I believe.
I mean, I'd be willing to work with a couple people. I think it'd be easier just a few people rather than.
Okay, that's
everyone.
fine. I think the less.
Rather than.
Okay, and so Roy,
Yeah,
okay.
because I've done this before and
And at the township, you know, in the hall, we are at the township, but in the files, I found a whole WCRC agreement that was back in the 80s. So we have some of that. And then with the neighborhoods, you know, when they put in a new development, or whenever they put that development in, the roads are gonna be listed. Now, it's a good thing. Well, most of them are private. But we have some that are public that we need to make sure. And that's should be easy because the plans should be in the basement somewhere.
That's a big ask.
What kind of help do you need?
well, I guess I work with Ian on SharePoint, maybe work with Chris initially, just to get. And see what we can gather and come back next meeting and say, okay, this is what we have, the starting point. And then I can say, okay, I could use help with X, Y, and Z, or maybe just X.
You need like Excel stuff or whatever, and SharePoint, I can help with that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I usually, yeah. Set up an Excel and, yeah. And the road commission has a lot of this information. It's not where we want it, but we get the data, right? And then it's like.
And then we can play with it.
Exactly.
Okay, so who's going to work? Roy? Are you the only one? No, sorry.
Chris could help us.
I mean, I'm happy to help. I know nothing about any of
Right.
this, but if you just need like grunt work, I can do grunt work.
Well, let me just do this part first before, and then I can come back and say, okay, this is what I could also use help on. But
Okay, and then, yeah, I have it has to be labeled as gravel or paved, you know, the type of material, if it's a private neighborhood or.
that's the other thing, the private information,
Actually-
that's what I'll probably need help, because no one really has all that
I
information.
do
And the other
get
hand is,
some.
are we gonna do the privates?
No, but we need to know the privates. The private roads, in order to, just say the most inappropriate things, don't I? The private roads, because when they come to us and say, oh, I want a SAD, then if we had a list for the front desk, they could look up, oh, are you public or private? Well, I don't know. And then they can look in the list. That would be very helpful for Christy and Fran and
And then they
Well,
could
there's
give
a
them.
list right here that says it's the 2022 Scio Township Road Information List that lists if they're a local connector subdivision or commercial road.
And if it's not on that list, it's a private road,
Yeah, but
99%.
Well, but that would give them the list. It
well, it
exists.
wouldn't give them the private road list though, and there's new private roads coming in all the time. Well, you know,
If they're not on this, they would.
but Fran gave me some list and it was private, but it's not. And I have a old private road list, but the new private as you know, they come to the township for their developments, then she gets a list and she calls it something else. But I can upload that into the SharePoint.
Yeah, I mean, the
Oh,
private.
wait a minute. Yeah.
Private's gonna need, because the other clarification, some people call it private road, and it's a driveway, shared driveway between like 3 homes. People would say, oh, that's my private road, it's a private road. And so it's like, what level of private road? Like Trailwoods is private road, but it's gonna be a lot different than the cul-de-sac that has 4 homes on it. It
Right,
may have a road name sign, may not, you know what I mean?
but they could still have a special assessment.
Yeah, they could, but I'm
Yeah,
just trying to get all that information is
Yeah.
gonna be. You almost have to drive the road someone and like write a road down, say, oh. here's
Well, we could just tell Fran and Christy that if they come to the front desk and they ask to let one of us know.
Mhm.
There's not that many people that come and ask that question.
Not yet.
No, not yet, but honestly, I would be surprised if there are 6 a season right now. So it's a fairly
there-
rare occurrence.
I don't think anybody is asking for special assessments at this point. And it's okay. We need to get everything together. And then we can look forward to our very first one, right, Chris?
Mhm.
It's gonna be exciting.
So I'm assuming that private roads, when you drive around and you see a street sign and it says private on it, that not all private roads are marked such.
Right, that just means they paid for a sign from the road
Ah,
commission,
okay.
stop sign, private road sign. But a
Okay.
lot of them just.
Have a name.
Yeah, yeah. Or some of them are just like someone's driveway and they put their own sign up. I've seen that too, right? I've seen different places, they call it, you know, Roy's Lane. You know, or
And then you have-
Linda's Lane, right?
Well, our private roads in Scio, I bought, you know, the high vis signs that look just like the street signs in the city, so it's very hard to tell that they're private.
Yeah. And then you have West Street that's half private and half public,
Right, that's the other crazy thing.
according to WCRC. Although I don't know why.
There's a reason we had this discussion a couple meetings ago.
Yeah, and I guess somebody was gonna ask, I think you were gonna ask them like 4 meetings ago, kind of why is West Street half?
Yeah, but.
It's not that, right now, no one needs.
No,
to know.
it'll be, because Stowe, I guess part of Stowe is like that too. That's what Will had shared with us. Well, anyways, this is the private road part of it is on the list for us, things to do. But I think right now we should, the road inventory list, the GIS and whatever we need to do for that. And then we can plug in the history later. But the history is gonna be important because when we have our, let's say, our first millage and all of the past, we're gonna have to go through and figure out which roads to do and with the amount of money that we will be able to collect.
Question.
Mhm.
So would it be possible, once this is built, as we get to the village, to have on the website access to this information so that people can see how it affects them? I don't know if that's legal or not, but it seems like that might be a good tool.
I mean, if you can,
Oh,
yeah,
like what's coming up in the future, like how many years out could we have that?
Right, or, you know, are you public or private? What's your history? Those kinds of pieces of information might be very helpful to people as they're thinking through how they want to vote.
I think that would be actually pretty fun to go through.
But I don't know if it's possible to do it or if it's quiet like.
Yeah, I'm a nerd. so-
How many resources?
Everybody
I think
else,
Craig
I don't
can be the
care.
chair on that committee.
Ooh, you don't want me. Check it out.
Well, yeah, we have a lot of great ideas. I think we're gonna get there. It's
Yeah, let's
just that we
focus on
have
the
to-
public roads first. And then
Yeah, let's,
that'll be it.
we have a term at work called crawl, walk, run. So crawl. you know,
Walk around, yeah.
Yeah, I'm crawling at the moment, literally.
yeah.
Well, Patrick, if we didn't make it to the website, maybe I'm still sort of launching on this idea of Linden Township's community gathering to see if they can gain momentum for a village. we're gonna need to do something
Oh.
similar, and we could bring, make a chart, bring a computer or something to that, and add that as one of the, you know, come and find out about your road.
Yeah, Linda, I'm gonna write that in, like a Q&A or a, what do
I'm
you wanna
almost
call it?
thinking if we can pony on to the fire department's October Halloween party or something. You know, come on over and see the rack table.
Try and put something in the newsletter or something to advertise.
Oh, definitely the newsletter.
Cause they aren't necessarily gonna come, I mean, the cute roads idea, fix our darn roads is great.
And we have every 4 months, we have a spot in the newsletter, right?
Yep,
So in a few months, we could announce that as extra tool.
Also put the projects in that are happening.
Well, that was one of the things that Matt Parks said at his presentation last meeting, was that the communities he's seen succeed with road millages were the ones that got out and were very proactive in introducing the information personally to the people, not just putting up road signs.
Yeah,
You can't make them come, but you can at least it's the effort to try.
Yeah.
And if you have a way to make it fun, I don't know about bikes decorating in a parade, but hey, you know, that's why I said the Halloween party, and the fire department, they're already there. It's not hard to decide how to put it on.
ESTF did that. They had their own, I think it was here, with the renewable energy
Mhm.
table or whatever, yeah, good.
this you're talking about 2026 for this stuff.
We need to start informing them now. but
Yeah.
Yes.
That's true.
Yes.
I mean, we were talking about it potentially being on a ballot in 2025, right? But then funding
Yeah.
will become available in 2026.
Correct, yes, that winter, the end of, well, winter of
Oh,
25,
Five.
but then when you have
Spring
construction,
26, right?
yeah. So that's the goal, spring.
But it flips it on its head. Instead of having meetings saying, let's talk about the roads millage, you have a opportunity to get together and find out more about your local roads and how we can make them improve. It's a positive spin.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, so we have a timeline, and actually I'm gonna remove this from my packet and keep it in the front, so we can. Okay. So as you can see, we have a lot to do. But that would be great, so the next time, Roy, you'll give us a update on all of that, or whatever you're
Yeah.
going to.
Yeah, I can work with Chris and just want to make sure Ian we'll first just start with some kind of the data. Try to figure out, okay, this is what information can we get from the road commission, what do we have? Let's start sorting it out. Yep. Manageable.
At least for right now. So then road construction improvement history, I mean, we can start gathering, I have quite a bit, but we can always search through more. And we're gonna run into a roadblock, so to speak, because they didn't keep, WCRC doesn't keep history over 7 years unless it had specific engineering to it. I don't know why, but we could scour through the township. And then start talking to neighborhoods and finding some old timers and asking them when their
Yeah,
roads went in, or when's the last time, but that's not always reliable either, but it kind of gives us an
And
idea.
some of it too is, let's say one road is 10 years old, one road's 15 years old. But the road that's 10 years old is in worse condition. The public, I mean, the people in the neighborhoods, like, you know, if you're gonna redo something, you know, so, you know, fix the mixes, but the other thing is, what I'm saying is, when we start prioritizing, people aren't gonna care about how old the road is, like.
Right.
When are you
No,
gonna do
that's just
something
for
about a
us.
road? But having that data.
Yeah.
Develop a plan. Okay, and that's where you get engaged with the community. It's like, hey, your neighborhoods, you know, in the next 5 years, we're gonna, you know, 3 years, 4 years, whatever, it's like, oh, you're actually gonna fix it? It's like, yeah, this is the plan. So that's where you get people interested, that we do have enough neighborhoods, the roads are in pretty rough shape. I would think people would be interested, and if not, they're not. I guess all we can do is, give them the information and let them make an informed decision and see if they're support or not.
And the more information we have prepared, the better.
Yeah.
Okay, so Linda, that was in our policies that we had for the newsletter, just the kind of a schedule. So regarding the website, while we're here, yeah, I guess we could talk more about that on our own. And I think that would be pretty minimal, if you're willing to do that.
That part I can do. Right now, for the next 6 months, I'm really slammed at work, but after November, it should clear up. So I can pinch hit on the website and.
Okay, that would
See
be
what I've
really
got.
helpful. So you just I don't know if the last time you've been there, but just take a look at it. If you see anything that needs to change or we need to add. Mary's really easy to work with and she does all the back end stuff.
Right now, I can't think of anything I'd specifically add to it other than potentially this list, if it's approved, of the road improvements for the summer.
And you'll get a copy of that, so you can just
Mhm.
send that over to her.
So when's the next issue that we have space? in
The newsletter. Oh,
It was last month,
Yeah,
quarter.
it's in in the policy. That's on our webpage, I believe up at the top.
Just looking.
So I'm
Very
thinking
good.
we probably
Gave us
should spend some time thinking through, with the millage coming up and all this work we're doing, how to schedule it out so that we're getting the information we need people to start the process.
The newsletter comes out quarterly
Yes.
and we have a space in every one.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, she'll make space for whatever we
But
need.
she needs the information a month ahead of time.
Yeah, so June 10th is when she needs it. And then it goes out, I think, July 1st, but that's the deadline for us to get what we need over to her. So when our next meeting is June, what do you have it, what's on
It's on
the last page?
June 5th, I guess, June 5th.
June 5th, Wednesday.
So that will give us 5 days to write something up and get it to her. Okay, who wants to work on that?
Well, so like one thing, was just the projects that have been approved, right, 2024.
By that point in time, it will be available. If the
Okay, so
township board's gonna vote on it on the 14th of May, by June 5th, we could have it.
Fundings. 10 roads there.
That would be a great. Okay, and what else should we include in the article? Just what we're working on?
Yeah, gathering data for a long-term road. This is a 1-year thing. We're looking, gathering information for a potential long-term
Plan.
Funding plan, improvement plan, maybe improvement plan, maybe funding plan. Long-term road improvement plan is also in the works.
Yeah, let's start with that. Don't put in the funding
Right,
yet.
improvement,
Because,
right.
yeah, improvement plan. Okay, and I can I'll write something up. Maybe Caroline, you can help if you want, or Bob. And then we'll bring it back to the next board meeting. RAC meeting on the 5th, and then get it to Mary on the 10th. Okay. Awesome. Okay, anything else regarding our task list? No, move on. Okay. I'm assuming the silence is yes. So,
Also, if you want to send me that task list, so I can put it in the minute. I wrote it down, but just in case your list is different than my list. As I'm putting the minutes together, if you want to send me what you wrote down as a task, I think I got them all, but I'm just saying.
just my notes on the,
Oh, I thought you had something.
It's in our packet.
Okay,
Yeah, it's on the website, but
I got it.
yeah, the only thing I included, other than my notes for the newsletter, the website and.
Okay. I thought you were right. Okay,
Link on the agenda, so there's a link on the agenda. too.
Yeah.
I don't know, should that be on the website? Our task list? Or, no, never mind. You're just gonna put in the minutes. Yeah. Okay, so, new business is, we have our policies. We approved them last time, or two meetings ago?
Recently.
It was recently, thank you. So we need to, we need to talk about attendance.
Mhm.
And I emailed, and I know you were rushing off, but, so is this working out for you?
I mean, usually, January is family vacation. We always go spring skiing the first week of January because that's when school's out right now. February is at a road conference for all 83 counties talking about roads up in Manistee, which is, that's what I talk about here, roads. So at the same time, March, I was working on the countywide millage thing, which is, it's raised like $80 million for roads in Washtenaw County, the 10-year countywide thing. So that's one of my day jobs, so it's a higher priority. Then obviously last month I was at spring break. So I can't make any promises. I'll try to be here. I've been doing this, I thought about this. First project I did was 1988, Wagner Road SAD paving on Wagner Road from Miller up to Wagner Road. So obviously I'm familiar with roads in South Township, been doing it for quite a while. I'll do my best. Can I guarantee I'm gonna be here every time? No. But like I look at the next meeting, the July 3rd. I don't know, I could be out of town.
We changed
moved
it.
it.
We didn't, you're right, that Monday is July 3rd. We decided we were gonna make it a later in July
Yeah.
because that was not a good.
I didn't know that. I'm glad I knew.
And July 10th, I do have Pete Parks meeting.
Well, wait a minute, let's look at our schedule. We have,
We talked about this last time
Yeah, we
too.
talked about it.
I don't know where on our website our meeting dates are listed.
Be on that.
yeah,
It's on the
upcoming,
website.
it is July 10th. It's under upcoming events on the website. Yeah, yeah, because we have to every year approve our calendar for the year. So we decided, and I think last year it fell on the 4th or the 5th or something. And I think we skipped it, didn't we? Or we met 2 weeks later at sometime. Yeah, so July 10th, but it's just that we have a lot of work to do, in this time crunch. And if you just wanted to come as a guest every once in a while, but there's new people, not new to Scio, but they're starting to come to board meetings, and the husband, heard their names, she's Renee, but he's interested in roads. But it's up to you, and we do have a policy that if we miss 3 meetings, and I don't wanna have another Rakesh issue.
But Roy is such a valuable.
Oh, well,
asset to us.
absolutely, but that's where we can bring him in as a guest.
No, I want him on the board.
Okay, so then,
I can't, I wrote to Roy, like, hey, please keep coming. We're asking questions.
Right, and I take questions, if I'm not at the meeting and you have a question, email me out.
And
Patrick, other people, Chris emails me, like, I'll get back to you the next day. Because I've been doing this for freaking 40 years and in South Township, like 35 years. I built all the phases of Jackson Boulevard. So I have the knowledge. I'll make my best, but I can't, I might miss some meetings. I at 2 of them, I was at road stuff,
well, we didn't know that though.
Okay.
Could you let us know when you're doing road stuff? Because that helps us.
Okay.
Yeah, seriously. We don't care about parks and pathways because we're all about roads. We like to get off the roads to go to the park. and
Countywide
pathways.
village, 80% goes to roads, 20% goes to pathways. And actually the pathway money,
What?
the countywide millage, the $500,000, it's gonna be at an August ballot.
Yeah,
80% goes to roads, 20% goes to pathways. And like the Z Road and connecting communities, that was funded from that millage.
okay.
So, and obviously how the primary roads in the township are now improved. Prior to this, I don't know if you remember, Scio Ridge or Scio Church Road from Uplands out to Wagner Road. Patrick remembers 10 years ago. Oh my gosh, that was all of Scio Church was a disaster. Like I said, I look back at the numbers, it's raised like $80 million on roads in Washtenaw County, cities.
I want to add something to
So,
Ian's
go ahead.
just comments. Roy put in dozens and dozens and dozens of hours with Bob and me to come up with the initial millage document and the first version of the policy and this, so, and the, what we not call the nuts and bolts. So he wasn't here, but the invaluable resource that he is, I think it's something maybe everybody doesn't recognize, that he's really spent, not only is available for phone calls, but he's sat with us. And we're
Well,
going,
sorry, let me ask this question. Would you know a month in advance, like June 5th?
I'll be here
Okay,
unless
so,
something tragic happens.
so let me ask this. Why can't we at June 5th meeting say, okay, the July whatever X meeting, can you make that meeting? And if not, can we then delay it a week or 10 days or whatever? 2
Well,
weeks?
delayed around me, I mean.
Well,
Just, I don't know, just meeting.
why not? Maybe other people have, you know.
I mean, you guys also
Because we've
all
set a-
contribute too to this process.
We have a calendar that's set that we have to give to the township because they have to, by law, have a calendar for the
And
year.
what says we can't deviate from that calendar?
Well, it's difficult for us to know if we can get the room in the
Yeah.
evening. We have to call and ask Christie, the next day. So for us to set a firm date to meet in this room, we may or may not be able to have.
Do you
the room.
really believe next Wednesday someone's got this room?
There could be.
You'd be surprised how
And,
busy
you
this
know,
room is.
We have these schedules for a reason. I mean, this isn't the only thing that I do in the township and, or other people. I mean, so, you know, we've got to keep the calendar and
I think if you kind of do it month by month, it becomes like herding cats. Well, I can't, well, then I can't, but he can and he can't.
I
but-
think it would be useful perhaps to, at the end of the meeting, say, "Okay, our next meeting is, how many people know if they're gonna be able to attend, just to make sure that we've got a quorum.
Yeah.
Get that.
Yeah.
Up at the June meeting. I mean, July meeting, I mean, yeah, the, whatever it was.
The
July
10th.
3rd.
over the 10th.
We moved it to the 10th.
You and Chris have a conflict.
Well, I mean, the PPP, I was just looking at this from 4 to usually 5:30, then we're gonna go right into this one, so it'll be your whole evening at the
Oh,
time.
wow, that'd be great.
So,
well, by.
So I'll be
yeah.
here.
Yeah, there you go.
although you're here,
Should we?
We get
it's gonna be a long time.
Bring it in.
Chris, you bring it in.
You're right, we're gonna have to bring dinner in, yeah.
Or we'll make Pete Parks get done quicker.
Yep.
Okay, so it's just gonna be the 10th.
Okay, so then if other people start missing a lot, we're gonna say, well, you don't have the background, so you're gonna be out. I mean, we have policies and that's where what I'm concerned. I don't wanna have rules for some and not for all. And maybe we could have an alternate if this other person wants to be. I don't know. But we just have a lot of work to do and we need to divvy up the work as much as possible because it's,
I mean.
A lot.
If there's the support, I mean, the people want, you guys want to vote me off, that's.
No,
fine. I get that too.
but we
It's
need
like,
to, we need to
I
look
didn't
at
think that
everything.
this-
Right.
I get it, it's like, okay, but like I said, like I said, I'll
I think
do my
it-
best.
You
I
don't know
don't
what
think
we're
it's
trying
going
to
to
solve.
that per se.
Rakesh just never showed up. He never showed up.
And he didn't contribute.
Yeah, okay, all right, but we have a lot of work to do and
We're all signed up.
Why is this an issue? Why don't we
Yeah.
just table the whole issue and
Absolutely. It's totally.
well, because it's in our policies and we're supposed to talk about it because it's in our policies.
We
We
did-
all
we did
agreed
talk
to a
about it.
policy.
we did talk about it. I
Okay,
think we all agreed. And I think it's petty at this point, honestly.
Yeah, move on. Got better things to do.
yeah, we have a lot to do, so we need to start, you know, who's going to, so now we have the website goes to Linda, at least that. And we're working on, the special assessment district, the nuts and bolts. Now we're gonna work on the private, then we have the special assessment policy that we need to go over, and we have a lot to do in the next year. So this is why we need all hands on deck.
So Jillian, what's in this document is the committee may choose to recommend to the board of trustees that the member be removed at any point following their absence. I think we have pretty much voted that we're not.
We're not going to recommend it.
Well, I didn't say we were going to, but we needed to discuss it.
Right,
Okay,
but I'm just saying, rules are pretty explicit, they may choose to vote.
okay, so we discussed it and we're moving on, right? Okay, so, yeah, the minutes. So these are from the April 4th and we included the video link,
They say April 3rd.
April 3rd. Did I say April 4th? Sorry. There's nothing for anybody, everybody, and we don't need to do just a voice.
Usually I'd say who moved the minutes, that's what
Who moves the minutes?
I,
2 seconds. I will. Okay, second. You.
I wasn't here, so I can't.
Yes, you can. Yeah, we deal with this at the board meeting all the time. It doesn't matter because if you read the minutes, then you get a vote.
I'll second them.
You can't get out of it. Sorry. I tried, believe me.
I was wondering about that. Good to know. I'll second them, although my surname is missing a T.
Well, wait, then that's a change.
No.
Yes, where?
No.
Yes,
Shut up.
so that has to be
I'm
changed.
still seconding them.
What's missing a T?
His last
His
name,
name.
so that's
And
a
under
change that
absent.
needs to happen. Dang, under absent?
Oh, I didn't know it was Hubert.
He just realized it too.
Oh.
After all these years.
No,
Oh my God.
so, okay, we need to make that change.
Yeah,
No, really?
Yes. Well, unless you wanna,
I don't care.
okay, is there anything else in here that? No other names?
sorry about that, Ian.
Shortchanged him.
Okay, so. Who? Was it Linda?
Moved, Ian
I
second.
second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Right. Reports, did everybody read through the reports?
To a degree.
Oh, and the DDA report is in the website version, so if anybody has the printed, it's not in there. Okay, and everybody good with the reports? Oh, yeah, under educational information, there was Watts newsletter came in today. I'm gonna have to talk with them to get them to hit the deadline on the right day. But anyway, so that's uploaded if you want to look through that again. Or at all. And I think that was it for, seems like there was something else, but anyway, okay, I guess we come to public comments. Oh, wait, no, the speed limit. That was the other, so that's kind of exciting, but when I read through the statute,
It's not very useful.
no, it doesn't, it goes through the same process where it's somebody else in the township if they want to try and get their road speed limit lowered. And also the House bill, the top of it, you know, where they always have an introductory paragraph for statutes. It doesn't match the rest, so I contacted the person that wrote the bill and I haven't heard back. I'm like, hey, does this make sense or not? Because maybe I'm off, I don't know. But anyway, the rest of the bill or the statute is good.
You are under. Looking at this and think.
I love reading through statute, it's so fun. No, seriously, I
God
loved
bless
it.
you.
Okay, we come to public comments.
Right. So Pam, sorry, I lowered your hand, but now it's up, so Pam Boyd.
Thank you, Pam Boyd. Disclaimer, if this was any other member of this committee, I'd be saying the exact same thing. So Roy, no offense, please. For a while on the Board of Trustees meeting, we had a member who didn't show up. We currently have another member who's had issues showing up, and it's very disrespectful. So my question is, it's difficult to keep up with what's going on in your committee. So my question is, if any of you have missed a meeting, do you go back and watch the video before the next meeting so you know what's happened? If you haven't, you are disrespecting your committee. Rules are rules, and they're there for a purpose so that the committee as a whole can function well. It's not petty. Residents want committees who follow the rules because it has been haphazard, which way the wind is blowing. Those rules tend to have happened in the past. So my question is, why don't you make Roy a liaison? So the definition of liaison is communication or cooperation which facilitates a close working relationship between people or organizations. And it seems to me that Roy would be a perfect example of somebody who works with this committee as a liaison. So when he's available, he can come when he's, however you make it work, but he can still be part of the committee without being required to attend all the meetings. And that might be a good solution. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Rob, you have your hand up. Rob Patterson.
Thank you, Rob Patterson, Scio Township resident. Pam brings up a very good point. I have a slightly different take on it. Roy, with all of his experience, is a huge resource to this committee. And when he's not present, he's greatly missed because that resource is missing. So it's, in some ways, it's even more important for Roy to be present than everybody else because he is such a big resource for this committee. And I totally agree that discussing it and making it fair for everybody is not petty. It was a great discussion. I appreciated that. And Pam brings up a very good suggestion of the liaison, and that takes the pressure of attending off, and but yet continues that relationship so that that resource is still available. Tonight, Chris, this will be for you and for Chris Bailey. Tonight, there have been at least 5 freezes of 1 to 2 seconds during the meeting. And that's the first time since the Zoom cart was put in action that I've seen freezes during the meeting. So there might be an issue there, and just pass that on to Chris Bailey, please. Chair Kerry, thank you. At the beginning of the meeting, Chris Chang was sitting at the Zoom computer, and it was very classy and very good leadership to invite him to sit at the table. That was a very good move, and I appreciated that. And Chris Chang, last question for you. It's been a few months. You are involved in so many committees. How are you doing? How is are you overwhelmed, or are you catching up? How is it going?
I do feel a little overwhelmed, Rob, and thank you for inquiring. But every day I'm learning something new, and it's getting a little easier. And I have to say, I appreciate all of the staff at the Scio Township Hall. Nothing but helpful. I appreciate all of them.
Well, you're very welcome to be here. We're very grateful that you're here. And as you've been in these meetings, you have been very effective. So well done. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you, Rob.
No, there are no other raised hands.
Okay. What time is it? 8 p.m. exactly. All in favor of adjourning? Huh?
Record.
Yeah,
Motion to adjourn.
motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I can't imagine anybody saying no, so I don't even know why we do that at the end, but whatever.
No.
Jillian, can I ask
Oh,
how,
are we,
yeah, we can turn off. I think we're done recording. We're finished.
Recording button.
I have that copy of the flow chart.
yeah, it's kind of all,
I was gonna mark up.
okay, if you want it. Ooh. You need a different one?